Ready?
Okay, we're ready.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. The North Rock School District Office of the Superintendent. The agenda for this evening is a special board meeting at the Administration Office at 2400 Willard Street, North Little Rock, Arkansas, 72114. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the meeting will be held via Zoom video conference for participants. Viewers will be able to watch the VA North Little Rock Facebook page on live stream. Today is Wednesday, August 17th, August 20th, August 12th, 2020. All right, 12 o'clock p.m. At this time, I officially call the meeting to order. Ms. Cole, quick, please call the roll.
Sam Campbell.
Here.
Liz Huggins.
Cannot hear.
Rochelle Redis. Mary Cedillo. Cindy Temple.
Here.
Sally Welcome.
Here.
Dorothy Williams.
Here. At this time, the new business, item 1, 2021 student handbook that from Mr. Stone, the Executive Director of Student and Equity Services, and the handbook, which is officially started on page 4. Mr. Stone, you may begin at this time.
Good afternoon, Madam President, board members, Dr. McGee. This evening, I would like to present the student handbook to you guys. We talked about it in the board workshop. There were some things that you guys wanted me to address, and I want to kind of talk about those things real quick before you guys vote on the handbook. May I share my screen, Mr. Barnes?
Hold on one second.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to get some technical help with that section. Hold on one second.
Okay. While he's doing that, I did want to just talk about the first page. I made larger the www.nlrsd.org. In your packet, you should see that I made that larger at one of your requests so that parents can be directed to our website for information instead of other sites that are out there. So I made that larger in order for you guys for our parents can see that and go be able to be directed to that site instead of other sites. Also, I did correct the board member's address that was incorrectly put in there, and also the term that was incorrectly put in there. That's been addressed as well. Mr. Barnes, are we ready?
Yes, you can share now.
Okay, thank you. Are you guys seeing the handbook, or are you seeing?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, what I was speaking of, the North Rock NLRSD.org, I made larger so the parents can see that, and it jumps out at them so that they can be directed to that site. And then also I addressed the changes in the address here. I was given the correct address to put in there. And then also I corrected the, Miss Williams, I corrected the November 2022 for term there. Other things that I addressed, we mentioned about the chain of command. That was a document that I could not alter, but I did put information in there about anything to deal with student equity that Michael Stone, Executive Director of Student Equity Services, may be involved in those things.
Okay, very good.
The other thing that I wanted to point out, I highlighted for you guys, There was a question about transcript and I guess a misunderstanding or not understanding of what this highlighted section was about. I got clarity on that. The clarification for this, when students go, it reads and it's correctly in here. If a student goes and get concurrent credit on their own, they are responsible for bringing that transcript from that college that they took that course at. They're responsible for that. And also they're responsible for getting it to the school within 2 days of the end of the semester. So that's a responsibility that the student is responsible for. For example, some of our juniors get to their junior year and they have all the required courses or credits that they need, minus the English course. They may go to Pulaski Tech and take a course that will satisfy that and graduate early. What I was shared with was that a lot of our students don't do that on their own anymore, but you may have 1 or 2 here and there that will do that. So this statement helps them understand that it's their responsibility to bring that transcript 2 days after the semester ends. Okay. And I think the last thing I think was a question that the graduation contract.
Yes.
That was a question that came up as well. I'm going to stop and I'm going to share that contract with you.
Okay.
To give you an idea. That contract was created. This is again for students to make sure they have all the course requirements that they need to graduate, not to be a discipline problem. They're signing a contract that they're not going to be disrespectful or do something wrong during the ceremonies. This is a contract between them and the school to ensure that they are graduating, that they're ready to graduate, and that they're going to be respectful when they graduate. So this is the contract, I believe, came from them or the high school addressing some part of the issue when we had some students that were misbehaving during the graduation ceremony. Well, now they're having them to sign contracts saying that they will not do that. And also they're ready to graduate. Okay.
Okay. So therefore, that particular item is explained thoroughly in the handbook.
They do that at the school. They do it with their students at the school.
But what I was asking you.
I mean, they're seniors, I'm sorry.
Okay, what I was asking you, I know what they do at the school, but I was asking you, did you put that explanation in the handbook so that there would be a clarity?
Yep,
The statement about the contract is in there, ma'am, but not that explanation. No, ma'am, that's not in the handbook.
Okay.
I can get a more detailed statement from the high school to before we print. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ms. Campbell?
They need to see it. Mr. Stone, they need to see it in black and white so they can't throw it back in our face.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that.
And so your explanation was very good, but so parents, the first thing they'll come back and say, well, where was it? We didn't have any details. And I think the way that you explained it to us, I think that would be ideal, that it's in the handbook.
And yes. Madam President, if I can add something to that, and members of the board, and Michael, only thing I will add to just add another clause is subject to change depending on the year. So we may add some more explicit language in, I want to give the principals that flexibility, because it just depends on the behavior from the previous that they may see. So it may be something a little different. So I just want to add that the contract is subject to change year to year.
Okay. So therefore, your directives then, as Dr. McGee, is that you're forth stating to Michael in that he's just stated to us, but talk with the principal to see if there's an addendum to that statement that need to be made.
Well, I think it would sum it up if he just, when he finish up his explanation, just put at the bottom that the contract is subject to change year to year due to prior behaviors. And I think that would cover that, because at minimum, it will be the contract, what he put in there, but they may add some more details as we go forth that we didn't have to address previously, that they may want to address the following year.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yes. Ms. Campbell, what was your statement?
I just don't want them to be able to throw it back in our face if they weren't told, and most of them have been told. Was why I thought it needed to be added.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I can certainly do that. I'll get with the school. We'll detail that explanation out and make sure it reads correctly. And that will be in addition to before we print or put online.
That was a good, now your
Thank
statement,
you.
forgive me, but the statement that you made, Mr. Stone, was very clear that you made, but I just feel that visual would perhaps make it better. So it won't come back to the board and say, you all didn't put it in there. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you. You can continue, Mr. Stone, it's still on you.
Okay. Did that document go away, or is it still there? Is the handbook there, or the document that I was sharing?
Neither. Try it again.
Okay, that was let me go back to the handbook. But can you see the handbook now?
Yes.
Okay, that was the last, oh no, the one more thing, the 4.45, I highlighted this before and during the board workshop, and I changed it. It had 2020 on there, or 2019 on there, or something like that. What it changed to is just 4.45. There's no date or anything on it or attached to it at this point. So it's just the requirements at this point. So that's been updated. And that was the last piece in the handbook. At this time, I'm asking if you guys will give us a favorable vote on the handbook with the changes that you're asking for in the for that statement to be fleshed out and detailed more for our parents. I'll get that done and we'll get it posted afterwards.
There was one other thing that was talked about that I didn't see the change, and that was adding the assistant principals.
Oh, the assistant principals.
Yes.
The assistant principals. We can add the assistant principal. It's going to create another page to do that. So I could go ahead and do that. My secretaries have all the list of them. We can put that in there.
Okay. Well, I mean, it was just brought up that night, so whatever everybody thinks is fine with me. But I saw that didn't happen. So
the explanation that was given, and I'm glad you brought that up. I think the purpose of that adding them is to have all the administrators' contact in there. And one of the explanations after talking with individuals was the principal is the buck stops at the principal. The assistant principal make decisions, but they run it through the principal. So that's why the principals' names were there. We don't mind putting at all, following your directives, putting the assistant principals in there as well. We can absolutely do that, but just know that we'll add another page and just put the assistant principals, because this will get larger. Because at some schools you have more than at the high school, middle school, you have more individuals to add at those levels, and that'll push the page farther. But that
my question would be, if there's multiple assistants, how do you know which assistant to call? Do you just pick one and call? Or does that just confuse stuff?
If I have an issue as a parent, I call the principal, and then the principal to give directives of who to speak with, which assistant principal. I don't know how that works at those with the multiple. There may be an assistant principal that covers a certain alphabet, but I don't know the assignment of those. So if I was a parent and I had an issue and I need to talk with an administrator, my call would go to the principal and they would direct me to which assistant to talk to.
And Madam President and members of the board, we can also add, if that's what we desire, we can add that those assistant principals and their contact, how they are to be reached. for example, if it's by alphabet for the high school and the middle school. So we can add that if we need to. I can have Dr. White to get that correspondence to Mr. Stone as soon as possible so that he can be able to move forward with the handbook.
Okay.
Okay.
That is the recommendation, Mr. Stone.
Yes, ma'am. And noted, and we'll do that.
Okay. Were there other comments or board members pertaining to the handbook?
Yeah, I have,
And the corrections that we asked for? Ms. Temple?
I do have one, and yeah, I see that you've worked hard on this, so I'm not trying to be really picky, but I'm wondering if this year, if we can get this on a better font for you so that, you know, we can block those paragraphs and we can line up the chart, the table of contents, the numbers and stuff. I just feel like whatever platform you're keying this in, it's limited to how we can make it look. So, you know what I'm saying, Candy? Is there somebody we can put a task force together to get this in a different format that makes it easier to update? And because even further in the handbook, the font changes again. So it just, you know, the overall.
The font, like the font, you're talking about the size changes?
Yeah, the size changes. Maybe it's not the actual font, but the size changes. It's just the consistency isn't throughout the document.
Okay, I know it's the same, it's pretty much the same throughout the word, and when it gets to the pages, signature pages, we change it in order to fit one page. But to answer your question, we could look or explore companies. Since we don't order as many copies, we can look and see if there's another way to format that. We try not to spend as much, we try to be fiscally responsible. We want to try to do things where we're not paying a whole lot of money for something that's, you know, but I get what you're saying, but we can definitely look at that for you guys but if you would allow me to look at that for the next year, not this year, I would appreciate that.
Yes.
Any other board members have comments? Okay. Mr. Stone, so with this, before we vote, I'm asking you this for clarity. Although the COVID-19 procedure uniforms and transportation, this is in the handbook, correct?
No, that's the standard. What's in the handbook is what's standard.
Oh, okay.
The next item will be what we do for just the COVID.
Okay.
COVID
I'm just making it clear.
suggestion. Yes, ma'am.
Because any questions, board members? Okay. Well, we need to vote on, I need a motion to pass the student handbook with the necessary corrections.
Madam President,
Yes.
I so move that we accept the student handbook for school year 2020, 2021.
With the necessary correction.
You are correct, with the necessary corrections. I apologize.
Okay.
Second.
It has been moved and properly second that we accept the Executive Director of Student and Equity Service Handbook. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. The motion is carried, so that is completed. Mr. Stone. Now we will go to number 2. COVID-19 procedure uniforms and transportation.
Okay. Let me just share my screen again.
It's on page 134.
Yes, ma'am. I have I don't have that in front of me. I have my screen, so I'd share what's on my screen.
Okay, then.
Give me just a moment. Okay, minimize that. Okay, page 9. No, I can't share that screen. It's in a PDF.
Okay,
But in front of you, I can talk about it because I can see it on my screen. You should have in front of you, board members, it talks about, it's the COVID-19 procedures for uniforms and transportation. And what I outlined for these procedures, you would find that uniform policy says the North Little Rock School District values our parents and our students and want to ensure a successful school year. During these uncertain times, we realize that our families need as little distraction as possible as we face this pandemic together. Due to the COVID-19 era, the uniform policy for the 2021 school year will be waived. Students may wear uniform or personal clothing following the guidelines listed below. And those guidelines are if we don't have a uniform, we have to put in place a dress code. And so there's a dress code attached to this as well that reads, all students must wear shoes, pajamas and blankets are prohibited. Clothing must be worn so that it covers underwear as well as back, midriff, chest, and buttocks. All tops must have straps, minimum width 2 inches, no spaghetti straps, and the top should cover the chest, underarm, back, and stomach. Half shirts, undershirts, see-through or mesh shirts, tube tops, or any tops without a back will not be allowed. Skirts and shorts must be the appropriate length, no shorter than mid-thigh, all the way around the leg, while standing, sitting, and walking. This length also applies to tears, rips in the pants. Yoga pants, leggings, jeggings, and any spandex or skin-tight garments shall be covered by a garment that provides a minimum coverage past the hips, front and back. Sunglasses along with hats, do-rags, hoods, curlers, picks, bandanas, and combs worn are prohibited. Clothing that promotes alcohol. And this includes your mask as well. It promotes alcohol, drugs, weapons, tobacco, gang affiliation, sexuality, or profanity is prohibited, as well as clothing that promotes a discriminatory or derogatory message. The school principal will determine the dress code for special events such as graduation, prom, dances, etc. The school principal will have the final determination of what is deemed inappropriate. And then the next section is all virtual students must be dressed appropriately for online instruction. The following guidelines must be followed. Pajamas and blankets are prohibited. All tops must have straps, minimum 2-inch, no spaghetti strap. And the top should cover the chest, the underarm, back, and stomach. Half shirts, undershirts, see-through or mesh tube tops, and any tops without backs will not be allowed. Sunglasses, along with hats, do-rags, hood, curlers, picks, bandanas, combs worn are prohibited. Clothing that promotes alcohol, drugs, weapons, tobacco, gang affiliation, the same thing here, are prohibited as well. And the school principal will have the final determination of what is deemed inappropriate. We wanted to make sure that our parents understood, both virtually and on site, that our kids are to be dressed appropriately for school. Some of the things on the virtual, I know parents will ask, well, they're at home, but we wanted to make sure that they understood that kids could stand up, they could stand up while they're doing their virtual lessons, and we want to make sure that they're appropriate all the way around.
Okay, board members, out of those two statements for regular school and for virtual, do any of you have any comments about this?
No.
No? Okay. You did a good job, Michael, on that.
Thank you.
And continue on
okay,
and math.
Thank you. And then the transportation piece, we cannot communicate this enough. I wanted to put this in there.
Michael, excuse me, Mr. Stone.
Say
You
that
have
again.
another sheet here about distancing and man. Oh, that's a part of the bus driver. Okay, you may
Yes,
begin.
yes,
It
ma'am.
was on the second page.
Okay, for the transportation guidelines, we cannot communicate this enough. We want to make sure that our parents are aware of what we're doing. We would like for the pickup times, we want students to arrive 10 minutes prior to the stop times. The bus will stay as a courtesy a minute after that so the parent will know that the bus was there and we didn't leave too soon. Parents are responsible for the child meeting the bus schedule. Students shall not be permitted to ride the other buses that they're not assigned to. Changes of buses will be permitted only in urgent situations, but we need some permission from the principal. We need some things from the parents as well. ID badges are important. I guess we need to make sure our kids are wearing them. Sometimes we have students, and I want parents to understand, we want to protect our students at all times. And if they don't have those ID badges where we can see them, we don't know that they belong on that bus. And sometimes in the past, we've had individuals on the bus that did not belong on the bus. And the IDs, it helps us determine whether they are supposed to be there or not. Seating charts, we will make a seating chart for our students so that we can social distance as much as possible with these seating charts and then know where our students are sitting. We're going to sanitize our buses daily. The drivers will do a pre-trip and post-trip after each group of students get off. There's a check-make electrostatic cleaning system that we'll use. We'll wipe down with wipes and sanitize and spray. So we'll have some things to do that. Distancing and masks. Drivers and aides will wear masks, and students are also required to wear masks. So we want to make sure our parents are aware of that as well. We'll have hand sanitized dispensers on the buses where kids can sanitize their hands getting on or getting off the bus. And we'll deal with discipline issues. We have an administrator that's a director, and he takes care of a lot of the things, but we have to work with the school administrator as well. He does a good job at doing that. We do have cameras on our buses. This year, as far as field trips and activities, because of COVID-19, that's going to be limited. So that's going to be a case by case. And then our special transportation students with special needs often require that special transportation. This is available for our students, and we'll make sure we cover everything by guidelines and their IEP to cover, to make sure we're meeting their needs. As far as the rest of the information, it's just talking about the communication, and it gives the contact information of our director over at the department. So I wanted to make sure we communicated that as well. Again, we've sent it out before, but I thought this was a good place to re-communicate what our transportation things are going to be as well.
Board members, do any of you have any questions or concerns to address to Mr. Stone about the transportation or the uniforms?
Yes, Madam President, just maybe if you could repeat something, because I kind of went out and came back in. Mr. Stone, did you say that the kids were going to have assigned seating on the bus? You may have said it, but my connection went out.
Yes, sir. We're going to create a seating chart for our students. Yes.
Okay.
All right. Are there other
Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
And thank you for coming in, Mr. Steele. Ms. Walkham, Ms.
Yes.
Temple,
I have some questions.
did either of you have any questions or corrections or concerns, I would say, to address on this process before we vote on it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mr. Stone, you
Yes, ma'am.
touched on wiping down the buses. Thank you for that. Do we have enough supplies on hand for that?
We do. The chemicals that we have, we'll have spray bottles. If we have some wipes to start with, but we do have spray bottles, and we have towels that we can wipe down. If we don't have, the other wipes, we have more supplies that we can use instead. So all the buses are outfitted with spray bottles, and we have plenty of solution to refill those bottles.
Okay, great. Thank you for that clarity, because I know we are actually in a shortage of getting those wipes, not just Clorox Lysol wipes, but just across the nation, there is a shortage. So that's why I inquire.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that. Coming back to the school uniforms, would you say this is similar to what the high school has already in place?
Yes, ma'am. It's not just similar. It is what's at the high school.
Okay, very good. That's what I thought. It was familiar. Okay, great. So coming to those little shorts, those cute little shorts these little girls wear, I would like for the administration to encourage the principals to stay on top of those cute little shorts they like to wear as far as the length. That would be my only concern with us waiving the school uniform, which is great. I understand the pandemic, but we don't need the 9-year-olds in those cute little shorts at school either. So, okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I appreciate Mr. Stone, the report about the do-rags and hairdos. We do understand, and parents have to understand, there are certain students that have religious requirements that they have to wear their head attire, and we understand that only from a religion standpoint. Anything else beyond that, no do-rags, no binders, no rollers, no everything, because our school have to look like we're world class, okay? I appreciate that. Mr. Steele, did you have anything? Ms. Temple?
Yeah, I just thought maybe you might want to take out the blended AB from the sanitation protocols for the buses, since we're not going to do that.
I thought I took that out, but yes, ma'am, I will make sure that's out. I think that's something I took out. Maybe your copy didn't have it or something, but yes, ma'am, we'll take that out of there.
And Michael, I'm sorry, Madam President, board members, let me add, he also did change, he took that out, Michael, that they may have the old version.
Okay.
So he took that out, and he also did add and put down, and where it says distancing and mask, it has here, will be encouraged, it's required. Required.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So what will be posted will be without the AB and without that the masks are required. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At this time, board members, we need a motion for the Norfolk School District cover the COVID-19 for uniforms and transportation procedures for the year 2021 school year.
Madam President.
Yes.
I so move that we accept the COVID-19 procedures for uniforms and transportation for the school year of 2020-2021.
A second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the COVID-19 North Little Rock School District uniforms and transportation procedures for the year 2021. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I heard 2 ayes. Okay.
Aye.
Thank you.
You heard mine.
Okay. The motion is carried, and thank you, Mr. Stone, for that report. At this time, the school start and ending time. Mr. Stone, you're still on, and we
Yes,
can
ma'am.
see. We can see it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Back in June, I met with a team of individuals that the team is listed here on the bottom that consists of principals, the secondary principal, the executive director of elementary ed, the director of transportation. We met and we talked about what would be the best times for us to accomplish 2 tasks. One was, to get out of school on time, but create some more space between those dismissal times. Now, this is, we know during the COVID-19, during this time, there's going to be some delays because we want to make sure we're sanitizing our buses and things like that. But during the regular, when we don't have or no longer are under a COVID-19 era, these times will work as well. By changing, our suggested time would be 7:50 to 2:35 here at the elementary level, which is 5 minutes sooner. We checked with the elementary director and she said these times are great. So 2:35 ending, not changing the start time for our parents, but just ending 5 minutes earlier. For the middle school, the suggested time was 8:10. That's pushing from 8 o'clock to back to 8:10 and ending at 3:25, which creates a 50-minute time period between the dismissal time of elementary and the dismissal time for middle school. So that would allow our buses time to travel and during this time with our virtual students, that also allow a little time for us to sanitize in between and not run too far behind. And the high school wanted to push their start time back to 8:40 from the 8:20 part, and then ending at 3:55. They would have ended later, but that was getting too late. The suggestion was to go ahead and end at 3:55, giving them enough time in the morning for the buses to get there, for them to get the kids in the schools, and then also ending early enough where it does not interfere with after school events. What that will do is for them, the 5 minutes of bank time that they were banking every day will be eliminated for the high school. The teacher times will change as well, 8:15 to 4 o'clock. For middle school, teacher time 7:55 to 3:40, and for elementary, the times will remain the same for teachers.
Mrs. Stone,
Suggested
board
times.
members, we need your comments, please.
Okay.
Mr. Steele, not Mr. Stone, board members, do you have any comments on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Walker.
Mr. Stone,
Yes,
during
ma'am.
that 15 minutes, please clarify, are we going to run some of the children home in between the elementary and the middle school pickup time, drop off time in order to sanitize and to clear the bus some? Is that what I'm understanding?
Repeat that, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I'm sorry.
During the what?
So during that 15 minutes of the elementary to the middle school, will that be drop off time for some of the children so we can eliminate some of the children on the bus and to sanitize?
Yes, ma'am. That
Okay.
drop off, yes. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then kind of sidebar, once we do this, will the bus schedules be updated on the website, and have we redone the bus schedules due to the lower children that will be on the bus because of the virtual academy coming into play?
Okay, let me take the first part of that first. Yes, we will have to redo schedules based on new times.
Okay.
Not only bus schedules, but we have to redo schedules at schools as well. Our master schedules and things at our middle school and our high schools will have to be adjusted, and as well as in Ms. Hale's office, there's things in our SIS that has to be adjusted as well due to new times. The second part of that was, what were you asking the second part?
The bus routes. So the bus routes will be redone because of the
Yes.
lower students enrolled due to virtual academy.
Yes. Okay, so that second part of that, we're coming up with creative ways to socially distance our students on the bus. I know it's not a requirement, but for North Little Rock, we're trying to do as much as we can to socially distance our students on the buses. So our buses will run their routes, and some of them will run a route, they'll socially distance, some will drop off and then go back and pick up, continue the current route and then drop off more. And some of the buses that are not used because of some of the kids are at home, then we may send 2 buses. So we can socially distance as much as possible within to make our kids and our families feel safer.
Okay, Mr. Stone, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
This may be directed to Dr. McGee.
Okay.
Aren't we supposed to feed the children that are virtual? How will we do these buses, or how will they get the lunches that we're supposed to provide for them? That to me is another use for buses. How will this happen? Have you all strategized that yet?
Well,
Yes.
we had.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dr. McGee.
And Michael, you can add to it. We have kind of thought of it, Ms. Williams. We have not finalized the thought yet. Number one, we want the parent to coordinate first to see if they can be able to come to the school and the lunches and the breakfast will be rolled out to them. Or then we would turn around. If not, then we would run our buses after they deliver all the kids to their school, come back to, they'll be assigned, each bus will be assigned to a school to pick up the breakfast and the lunch and to run those students that are virtual, their breakfast and lunch via bus like that.
Okay, well, have it been decided for the virtual if you will still be using a company, or will you be using our cafeteria workers?
No, we're going to use our
cafeteria workers.
Okay, then.
Yeah. And one last thing, while I'm Madam President, members of the board, we talked about the changes when I did want to make sure that, we're required to have a lot of seat time for the academics to meet the accreditation. So we did finalize, I did have both directors to make sure that we are in compliance with the State Department of Education in terms of the academic pieces of it. So this new schedule will suffice if it is approved.
Okay, I've got a few more follow-up if you're okay with that. Coming back to the buses, Mr. Stone,
Yes,
could
ma'am.
we inquire or possibly ask Mr. Tyler, could we keep one window cracked at all times on a bus? That way we can have fresh air circulating while the children are on the bus. And then my second part to that is the mask will be worn at all times to the best of their ability on the bus, correct?
Yes, ma'am. And yes to both of those questions. We have thought about circulation of air, fresh air on the buses. So yes.
Yes, thank you. Okay, one last question. Drop-off times for each school. Have you gentlemen spoken about the opening of the schools? When can we drop the kids off, especially in the mornings for those not riding the bus with these new times? If we're going to open, it says school will end 5 minutes earlier, teacher chimes change and things. What about opening the doors? If I drop my child off in the morning and I have to get to work, have you guys discussed what time those doors open where I can drop my child off? Second part to that is, and we're serving breakfast, correct? Still in the mornings in the cafeteria?
Yes.
Yes, we are. And for drop-off times, it will not change for elementary. Most schools open at 7:20 in the morning for drop-off. The buses have a different drop-off time. It gives them time to go ahead and go through and get to their designated areas. But drop-off for the most part for elementaries are 7:20 in the morning. And so some of them are a little earlier than that, but that's a school by school. As far as the high school, the drop-off times will change. We don't want kids unattended, and I believe they're going to address that in their communication. But they didn't want kids in before. I'm not going to say a time because I don't want to misquote anyone, but they're going to communicate those drop-off times with the new times.
Okay, very good.
But they will have time for breakfast. It'll be enough time for them to eat breakfast at each campus.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
And because of the pandemic, this report was given to us several months ago about the changes school starting time. And then board members will have to consider that during the time someone previously stated, well, the kids will be getting to school late, but with the pandemic, we have to look at all avenues. If the bus is a few minutes late, fine. as long as they clean them up and clean them out, because the child's health on the bus is far more important to me than just being a few minutes late to the building. And the bus drivers, Mr. McGee, but Mr. Stone, we have to look at everything. Patience sometimes the key, because this is new for us. And I think if we remain patient and we see how everything works, it'll just run smooth for the bus drivers also. So at this time, board members, I would like to have a motion for school starting.
Madam President, I just have one quick question. Well, actually, two quick questions, but I promise they're quick.
Oh, that's fine.
On the suggested ending time, I notice it's just 5 minutes between the students and the teachers. Ms. Stone, how did the teachers feel about that? Is that enough time in between so both can actually exit the building?
I can't answer that. I didn't talk to teachers about that. I talked to administrators. I don't see why that would be a problem. As far as coverage for dismissal, we have campus supervisors and administrators covering that, not teachers. But as far as if they're trying to leave, let's say, for instance, the high school, they have a certain route that they take, but that's gonna change because we're doing 7 different entrances. So we're probably doing about 7 different exits as well. So they're gonna have to monitor and adjust that at each site. So I can't answer how the teachers, because I didn't ask, but I did talk with the administrators about this. So these are the times that were suggested.
Okay, and the other question is, I know at the high school and the middle school, kids have a tendency to kind of get together before school. And I know at the high school, you really only have 2 people out there, and they're mainly dealing with traffic. Are we going to increase those numbers? My concern is that when they get together, they're not social distancing before they go into the school.
Mr. Steele, I can address that. I did direct our campus safety coordinator that he's going to have to pour more support into these schools in the morning due to this pandemic and how we're spreading out and entering into the building, specifically the high school. He and I will be meeting with the Chief Ralston today at 3:30, along with the SROs, to continue to finalize those plans and make sure that everything is safe and secure in the morning.
Thank you. And I want to say finally that Mr. Stone, Mr. McGee, this has been an outstanding presentation, and I do appreciate all the hard work for both of you and others who participated in it as well. Very well organized and put together. I know when the parents see this, they're going to feel, they'll feel much more comfortable.
Thank you.
Okay. Other comments? And if you're on your sheet, you can see the team. All the principals were involved in this, but Laura Smith, as Director of Elementary Education, she was the spokesperson for the elementary school. But the high school, COE, Center of Excellence, Mr. Jones, and Mr. Clark, and before Ms. Campbell left, they all participated in this time zone. And again, thank you. Did we have a motion, as I recall?
Oh, yes. Dr. Mee, coming back to Tracy's last comment, are we not going to encourage the parents to also encourage their students to social distance? I mean, is again, responsibility at the high school level. They should know better. They should do better. They should, act upon themselves and be responsible for their own health.
You are correct. I apologize for cutting you off. You are correct. We are filming those videos right now as we speak. They're at Boone Park, filming that video for Boone Park that we've already did the high school yesterday, and we're going to be doing the middle school, where we are specifically asking the parents to encourage their child to ensure that they social and physical distancing upon arrival, during school, and after school. So, and we also including on how to properly wear the mask, how to, and all of the other safety protocols that's been specifically mentioned in there. That is being led by our district point of contact, Ms. Stuckey, and her team, along with Mr. Seller. So you are correct. We are, and we're going to continue to send out some more correspondence. I am trying to wrap up this memo where I am going to put in the memo, and I will send it out to the board when I finish today or by in the morning, depending on how much time I have. We will specifically talk about the importance of social and physical distance. If this is in between before school, during school, and after school.
Okay, Dr. McGee, you also explained to the board about how the markers will be placed in the schools, how we're trying to show distances between the students.
Good. Thank you, Madam President. Yes, the high school and the schools have ordered signage to go on the floors, just like if you go into Walmart, they have the signs. The high schools, I was there yesterday at the high school, they have already placed the signs down. I have not, I visited 2 other schools earlier. They have not done that yet. I will follow up with the directors. My plan is to follow with the directors to make sure they get those signage on the floor. And this is regard to the 6 feet apart. That's what we want to make sure they're signs down 6 feet apart. The importance of staying on 6 feet, and also the Department of Health signs that goes on the door about the expectation when they come in about the mask wearing and the fevers and the symptoms if they have and stuff like that. So most of the schools do have the signs up on the doors, but we got to get the signage on the floors. The high school is the only school that I've seen thus far that had them down.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or concerns about that? Okay, yes, Ms.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Unmute, Sandy.
I said, has Mandy gotten most of her supplies in?
She has got some, Miss Campbell, not all of them. She does have quite a few, but there's some things that she and I did submit to the state that we felt like was a #1 priority. The state had us to do another survey to list the rank them in first, second, and third. So we just submitted that. I know that she had some that just came in yesterday or the day before. I need to get with her. She and I will meet this afternoon again and to find out what she needs and what has arrived. We do have enough masks to start school and enough equipment. I know that we have not received the face shields that we've ordered. We ordered 1,500 face shields. That's for all of the staff. I know that they have not come in. We will get with the hub to see how much they can get to us in with regards to preparing those face shields. So I'm gonna get with her to see where we missed it, and so that we'll know to do an alternate plan to get those PPE equipment here.
Well, I know that some of your face shields are probably the last thing that come in, because everybody's wanting them.
Yeah, I know she got a lot of the stuff. The nurse is gonna wear the N95 masks. I think they came in. We have a lot of the face cloth in, I think about almost 10,000. We have 40,000 disposable masks. So we do have those, but I want to make sure that the other stuff that we ordered to see if they came in. I know that we have the Clorox machine. I think 4 of those machines came in, but I think there have been some the rest of the machines that have come in as well. So let me check on that to follow back up with the board.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, were there other questions?
Dividers. Do we have the plexi dividers and the screens up in all of the schools?
I know we got them in the front office, and Michael, you can kind of, I know we got them in the front office. I know that we have not got them into the classroom, as to my understanding, when we discussed this yesterday, the directors and I. So we met with the Arkansas Dream Center. This is the Arkansas Dream Center, I think, with off of 19th Street yesterday. We're going to be looking at trying to be creative to help expedite that. So we're going to try to get some shower curtains. We were informed that shower curtains will help clear shower curtains. So we're going to try to get those shower curtains where we can kind of hang them down and kind of separate inside the classroom until we get the plexiglass built for the students to go on a desk. I know they have done some, but they have not done all. I did approve of Harold and his staff to work some overtime so that they can get those classrooms ready for kids coming in on August the 24th.
And I met with Mr. Hatch this morning, and we visited about that, and he's pretty confident that with the number of students that's going virtual, that we should be able to meet that timeline. So he's putting his staff into not necessarily a lot of overtime, but there's some going to be overtime. Because of the rain the last couple of days, we have all hands on deck over there. They can't cut grass, so they all are working on the same project at this point to meet that deadline. So it's looking like we may be able to meet that, but if not, we're putting some contingency in place where we can be as safe as possible when school starts.
Are there other questions from board members?
Okay, thank you for that clarity. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
We're all crunching right now, and it's kind of crazy. Thank you for everyone who's working so hard and diligently trying to get this accomplished before the doors open. Madam President, I would like to make a motion.
Yes, go ahead.
I so move that we accept the school starting and ending times for the bus schedule of the school year of 2020 and 2021.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we accept the 2021 school start and end time. Those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. Those opposed? Nay. So the motion is carried. At this time, Mr. Stone, you're still on for students.
Yes, ma'am.
Equity.
The last one, these are all the ASBA updates for policies, student policies, and I bring them to you each year as they're updated in February or in June or in the summertime. Legislators have met. We talked about this during the workshop, that there was not a whole lot of changes. There was a lot of changes to maybe add to the reference, the legal reference and things like that. So what I need for you guys to do is, in order for me to update the student policy section to match what ASBA is recommending, I need a vote on all the policies listed here for the updates from ASBA. And it may be one vote. We just have to list each of the policy numbers.
Okay. Board members, do I have anyone? Have you got your paper? Maybe you're looking for your sheets to, oh, you got it left there, Michael.
If you'll leave it there, Mr. Stone, I'll take care of it. Just leave it as is though, please, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Madam President.
Yes.
I so move that we accept the 2020 student policy update summaries in policy 4.2, 4.5, 4.5F, 4.6, 4.8, 4.11, 4.13, 4.14, 4.15, 4.23, 4.24, 4.47, 4.48, 4.49, 4.52, 4.54, and 4.55.
Okay. It's been moved and properly second that we accept the students' policy update summaries. And as you said before, these policies are directed from what, Mr. Michael?
It's from ASBA, Arkansas School Board Association.
All right.
Mhm.
Now, so if there are no further questions, the vote, the second, it was moved and properly second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. So the motion is carried. At this time, our next point of business is convocation tomorrow. At what time, Dr. McGee?
Tomorrow it begins at 8:30. We will send the link, board members, out. It's not tomorrow, it's Friday. Friday at 8:30. We'll send it.
Friday. Okay.
Yeah, we are pre-recording everything, and we're just gonna put it in the video format so they can stay truly virtual. So I will send that link out to the board once we do our final recording with of our motivational speaker tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. So and I think that you will be well pleased with the video. We had door prizes to give away even during this pandemic. We had about 20 door prizes. We were trying to get more, but we just wanted to make sure the teachers feel comfortable and getting ready and excited about the year. Also, we had new teachers orientation this morning. It began. It went extremely well. I want to thank Ms. Radcliffe and her staff and the elementary secretary director for those new teachers orientation. It was about 80 new teachers to our district. They went through their orientation. It was, I'm very excited about that as well. And then I think that's about it, Madam President, that I can think of. Again, tomorrow we will be doing our speaker, motivational speaker, is the former ASU coach, Steve Roberts, who's also serving as the Associate Executive Director over at Arkansas Activity Association. He will come at 9 o'clock in the auditorium. He did want us a mini audience, so we just invited the principals and assistant principals there. Again, we want to make sure that, let me take this opportunity to express to our parents and viewers that the importance of please teaching our students how to properly wear the PPE and the social and physical distancing. We cannot reiterate and express this more. It's more important now that we properly social and physical distance than ever. There will be a video that'll be forthcoming in probably by Friday or Monday of next week that we will air to our parents on how to properly wear the mask and to social and physical distancing. And lastly, also, we will have a parent and student video on how we are to utilize our learning management system. So we're going to try to train the parents with that, but we're going to release the video, then we're going to come back and do the training after school starts. We're not trying to overwhelm the parents. So by that time, every kid should have gotten their electronic device. And so we're going to train them at that time. So Madam President, that's about all that we have. So thank you, board members, for taking the time to come out and to get this matter approved so that we continue to move the district forward and get ready for August the 24th.
Okay, and welcome new teachers, the 80 new teachers to the North Rock School District family. Are there other concerns or that you need to address, I would like to say? If there's nothing more, we need an official adjournment.
Tell McGee to remember to come down here.
Who?
Dr.
I will be there, Ms. Campbell. I'm on my way.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Move we adjourn, Madam President.
We need adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Thank you. Who's seconded?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we adjourn. And thank you, board members, for all that you have been doing coming to all of these meetings. Thank you. We're better together. And have a fantastic day, and do pass it on.
I like that.